Yeah.
All right.
Close on the house today. One of my buyers.
Yeah, you do.
I'm gonna go do a little door knocking lead gen. Got an idea from a webinar. Said get these welcome to the neighborhood cards and have all the neighbors sign it with their email address, their physical address, so they know who they are and where they are and how to contact them. And then obviously ask them if they'd like to be added to the monthly market updates.
Yeah, I like that idea too. I can tell you, like I talked to my neighbor yesterday. They called me and talked to me about putting a wall in. I've never talked to them, and I've owned that house for 5 years. So having like a postcard with the email address and for the neighbor, that'd be fantastic because that'd give you pretty easy access to be able to talk to your neighbors. Like, hey, we're gonna put up a new wall. Is it okay? We gotta take down your fence. That's a fantastic idea, Jim.
Yeah, of course. I stole it from somebody else. That's all right.
All great ideas are not stolen; they're recycled.
Amen.
All right. Anything else?
I installed 2 ceiling fans in the house today or yesterday.
Way to go, Jim.
I went out door knocking in my neighborhood and met 5 new people I hadn't met before.
Love that. Anyone else going once?
I got my braces off yesterday.
Yeah, you did.
Fantastic. That's exciting.
I'm excited.
Way to go, Christy.
Well, we moved my mom in.
Hey, woohoo! Roommates. Hi, Mom.
Welcome to Arizona.
A little different than North Carolina, but we have mountains here. They just don't have snowy peaks or southern hospitality. Does North Carolina have southern hospitality?
Yes,
Yes, they do.
indeed,
They sure do.
indeed. Wait, this one's
Not as much as North Carolina, though, or South Carolina, just by definition.
It's North Carolina, South Carolina. You could basically call them the South. They're certified. They're good.
They're the exception.
They're good.
I've never been to either. I'm just
I
talking.
love my Carolinas. All right.
Carolina.
Never been. I have never been to the Carolinas.
Me either.
I've been to the
Only been
Virginia, only the
Only
West.
been a few times, but a lot of because I'm from like Texas and Louisiana, and a lot of my friends from the military, they're from there, and like we're so similar. I still talk to them to this day. Like we're just very alike.
That's good. I like that. One of my good buddies, Dylan King, he is from North Carolina. He's always trying to get me to go back. And they moved back from Tucson a couple years ago, made it as far as Georgia. And I went and visited him in Georgia last year. Good times. I don't like Georgia. I do not like Georgia. Well,
What turned you off?
Atlanta. I don't like Atlanta.
Oh yeah, Atlanta's terrible.
I didn't like Atlanta. Atlanta is filled with some of the worst people.
Yeah, Atlanta's terrible. Not a fan.
All right. Any other win celebrations? Something you're just dang proud of?
Signed my second contract yesterday.
Yeah, you did. Way to go, Max.
Yeah.
It's double the size of his first contract.
And I got 2 in the pipeline coming up.
Woo woo. All right. Show of hands. Raise your hand if you're where you would expect your life to be right at this moment. Okay, Max, thank you. Christina, very good. It's okay.
No, I didn't mean to do that. My bad.
Oh, okay.
Hands down.
Raise your hand if you're excited to see that your life is growing in a path that you didn't think was possible a year ago. There you
And
go.
to the ceiling.
That's what's that is what's awesome. I love this is the potentiality of your life to change, right? I want you to remember this small thing is it may not seem like anything is happening. It may not seem like anything is changing until one day you look back. Everything's different. Life changes so small, so sudden. All these small little ticks and ticks and ticks. But just like an hour, every second ticks by in silence until the bells chime to let you know a new hour has passed. So be careful, because every second of every day, your life is ticking. Now, do we check in at the hour? Do we check at the minute? We check at the second, right? The longer you go without checking in on yourself, the harder it is to course correct. Remember that. That's all I've got. That's it. My message for today. All right. Who's got an objection you were working on that I can help you with, that we can talk about collectively? Fantastic. Love the conversation.
I've already kind of dealt with this, but maybe it could help other people.
I love
What
that.
is this, Gracie?
Yeah,
Voice.
sorry, I got a new phone, so I need to like update my photo and all that. But
No, I was just giving you a hard time because I haven't heard your voice in a while.
She doesn't have her eyebrows on
yeah,
either.
I haven't. Yeah, I'm coming back to life finally. It's been a very busy like month in general, but all good things. It's a lot of business. I just haven't had time to like even breathe, but that's a good thing. So, but I was gonna say something that I've been dealing with. Another reason why I've been so busy is this listing that I'm closing probably tomorrow now. Just like difficult sellers not want or not complying to like do final walkthroughs or move their furniture or just do the things that you need to do to close a listing. Because I never thought that that would be an issue. But it's something that I've been dealing with this past week, and it's delayed closing by almost a week now because the sellers will not get their furniture out of the property. So I've already kind of dealt with it, but I mean, if that might be a good topic because I just never thought that would be something I would bump into.
Why were they not getting their stuff out? Like, were they forced to sell or something and they're just salty about it?
No, they're just very chaotic, difficult people. They actually don't even live in the property and they just will make up every excuse in the world to not do what they need to do. Very unorthodox situation for sure. Like they'll make up any excuse that you could possibly think of to not move their stuff. However, they actually need to pay off a loan like for the entirety of the proceeds that they're getting. They're not even getting any money back, and they're in pre-foreclosure. So they should really just be like rushing to close, but they'll make up any excuse not to move their things out. And I pretty much have done everything that I needed to as far as like putting pressure on them and also, at some point putting pressure on them and managing expectations on the other side and everything to get the deal closed. But
so you're telling me you have a seller who's in foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, because they didn't pay their bills.
correct.
That tells me a lot about them, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They don't want to do what they're supposed to do, and they're not really afraid of the consequences
No.
They're broke.
until they become serious consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gracie, tell us, how did you have, or what conversations did you have with the seller to get them to finally make those moves?
Honestly, with these people, I've had many conversations with them, and there was nothing necessarily that got them to move. It was more so having to negotiate with the other side to extend escrow and talk to a bunch of people like their lender, the buyer's lender, in order to keep their rate locked, the buyer's rate locked, and manage, those expectations with the other side. Because at that point with these clients, that's pretty much all I could do. Because like I said, they'll make up every excuse. They called escrow, they called their lender and everybody saying that they were in the hospital with 105-degree fever and all of this. I don't know if that's true or not, but I will say
You
they
can't
have.
make all 105-degree fever.
Yeah, so they're just those types of people. I've heard every excuse in the world from like the moment I listed the property. They didn't have their stuff out of the house. It was like a storage unit in there. So from the beginning, it was pretty much a shit show, and till the end, it's going to be a shit show.
Sounds like some
here's the-
really patient buyers.
Oh yeah, I mean the buyer was threatening to sue them, and they're like, "Oh, what great people!" Like they're just the type of people. They're not logical. They're very very emotional, and if you tell them something, they're going to flip it and turn it into something emotional that has nothing to do with the actual situation. So,
Those are the worst.
Is this
yeah,
like the
so-
season for those clients? Because I've got the exact same clients, and someone else I think does right now too.
yeah, I think this is definitely going to be the hardest listing I've ever had in my life. Like, it's been a difficult, yeah. And they delayed closing even more because they said that the buyers did the walkthrough and they had to make the movers and the maids leave and all these things. And I told them, guys, I told everybody, I was very clear that everybody could stay here during the walkthrough. It's only 10 minutes. Keep all your people there. I don't know why we're doing this the day before closing. And I don't know why there's maids there when there's boxes everywhere, but
There wasn't.
yeah, there wasn't. That's the thing is, yeah. So I don't know. I can't give a solution as far as to what I said to my clients in order for them to actually comply with doing everything that was in the contract, because there wasn't any way to do that. It was more so just managing expectations with the other side and doing the best that I could to meet in the middle as far as giving the sellers more time to move their stuff and putting pressure on them while just, yeah, being clear to the other side. I mean, there's not much I could do, on my end.
Now this is a tough one. I heard something up front that I want to showcase is, Gracie, you said that you level set the expectations with the buyers.
Mm-hmm.
So even if we have a tough client, it's really good to, look at it globally, right? This isn't just our client, it's the entirety of the process. And I think this also reigns true for Christina's client, right? You got to have a level set expectation with the buyers. And sometimes you can make a lot of grace go a long way when making friends with the buyer side with a tough seller, saying, I am so sorry. This has been a friction-based situation. They're kind of difficult. And most buyers will align with you and say, I'm so sorry that this hasn't been a smooth transaction for you. We just need a little bit of grace. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what we're trying to do. Can we have some extra time? I know the seller's been X, Y, and Z. And usually the buyers are like, oh, yeah. No, thank you for telling us. We're frustrated, but we get it. We're here to help, right? Well, we just want the house or something. You'll get something along those lines. We just want to close the deal. We just want to move in. We just want the house, whatever it is. So you have a friend on that side, and then level set the expectations on the other side, and you got to find some pain. And most contracts do not have extension fees unless they're builders or something beyond state standard, because state standards don't see the having to pay after closing if it doesn't close on time as egregious to the consumer. So sometimes you might have to bake that in. If you know you're going to have a tough situation, put that in the contract. The seller's failure to move out by this date will constitute X amount of dollars per day until closing, right? Now, can you get away with that? So yeah, you got to get it up front. But having the expectations up front with the sellers is good. But you're still going to have a lot of emotions. You're going to have a lot of excuses. I like the word there. She said they come up with every excuse possible. That's just how people operate in scarcity. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to tell you what's going on because they don't feel like you're on their side. So they're going to come up with excuses. And in those moments, you show up as a leader by saying, this is what's going to happen. This is what you need to do. And then follow up with them almost like you're talking to a 7-year-old. Hey, buddy, did you clean your room? I got to come over and check.
Yeah, that's literally me right now.
Right? You're going to have to do that. And it's so hard on your psyche because you're like, this is a grown-ass man. Why am I treating you like a 6-year-old? Well, how do people act in destitute? They revert back to their lowest level of preparedness. And for some of people out there, that's childhood. You are a non-functioning adult, so when things get tough, you go back to sucking your thumb and holding your Snuggie. Difficult will happen in this business. Grace, you handled it well, and you worked on both sides. Kick the seller in the butt, pat the buyer on the back, make them feel good, let them know things are moving, communicate.
Is the seller allowed to drop out of the contract?
It'd be in breach of contract and they could get sued.
Just like in Arizona, they get sued for specific performance. The seller's power to leave a deal ends the moment they accept the contract. Because they're signing a listing agreement, the agreement to sell the house, the exclusive agency form, is their election to sell their home. Once they accept an offer from a buyer, that is their election to move forward. Now, the buyer can cancel because the buyer only has the one opportunity to say, hey, I want to buy this house. So I'm going to do all my lessons and learning on it. But how hard is it? Go ahead.
Can they get sued for not closing on time? And the buyer wants that closing day? I mean, what kind of consequences can they have?
Any of them. Potentially any of them. Damages, right?
It's really messy and like kind of, yeah. Basically, too, what they could do, what the buyers technically could do, they could have for sure just closed on the home. And the sellers would have had all their stuff in there. And then what? They could have sued them for all the money that it's costing to move all the belongings. Because at that point, it's like, that's what I was telling my sellers too. I'm like, they are obligated to close today.
Right. Yeah.
This could not be your home by the end of today.
Right.
And all your stuff is still in there. So, but of course the buyers are smart. And especially with this seller, they know how they are. They want to make sure there's no holes in the walls or, whatever from them moving. Because when they did the walkthrough, there's still a bunch of crap in there. So that's why they didn't feel comfortable doing that.
Mm.
But yeah, that's why I'm like, I did all that I could do. And also the sellers lied to me. That's why, and my listing's about 50 minutes away from me. And it's like, they told me before the walkthrough that almost everything is cleared and the walkthrough's fine. They just need the maids to come tomorrow, which was Monday when we were supposed to close, and move the boxes and we should be good to go. And then me and the buyer's agent get there and it's like hoarded. So I'm just like, okay, like now I've been needing to baby them, but now I need to baby them more than ever and be like, okay, I'm coming 50 minutes away to check to make sure the house is clean, like you said. And then what? And these people are psycho and they yell at me. They'll like cuss at me and stuff and be like, we feel rushed and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, no shit, you feel rushed. Like, you did that to yourself. Like, I don't know what to tell you at this point. Like, honestly, they're pissing me off so much. I'm like, I just want this to close. Like, they'll cuss me out and yell at me. And it's like Dan said, it's common sense. Like, I have to like explain common sense to you. Like,
What
It's
was
just, it's ridiculous.
what was the source of the client?
I met them at an open house, over the summer.
Gotcha. Well, good job on your conversion.
Thank you. Yeah, these clients actually, they own they own 2 other properties that they need to sell, but there's no way in hell I'm working with them again after this. I don't even care.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
That's
No.
how I am with these people. My
I
client, like if it fell out of contract, I would absolutely cancel them.
Yeah, no, there's no way. I mean, I'm closing this. I've earned this. I'm like, and they're trying to get me to give some of my commission away for moving costs. I'm like, nope.
Absolutely not.
Nope. I'm not giving a dime of my money away because I already gave them a discount in the first place. But I mean, I'm closing this, but after that, I'm like, they're asking me about sales of other houses. I'm like, and I'm after this closes, I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry, I can't work with you anymore.
Refer them to someone else and get paid on the referral side.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll do.
Here, Gracie, I'm going to send you a link to some silk socks. You can buy them for them as a closing gift. So you can tell them, go put these nice silk socks on, go out in the backyard and kick rocks. Do us
Get them
all
a voucher for the mental health program.
Yeah, seriously.
phone number 2, Victims Anonymous.
And some Legos.
Yeah, so everybody pray for me after this call. We're doing the hopefully final walkthrough today and closing tomorrow. So
The 3rd final walkthrough.
yeah, so
Fantastic.
I'm gonna start moving stuff myself today if it's
Yep.
not me.
On the same topic pattern, on the same conversational space, setting expectations. When is the agreement to compensate the brokerage solidified?
At the time you sign the listing agreement.
All right. Same thing in Arizona. You guys agree?
Yep.
Is it negotiable after that point?
Nope.
Nope.
I
Yes.
mean, technically it is. You could do
It
an
is.
addendum.
Negotiate down. You can't negotiate up.
Yeah, you can go up. I can go down. I can go anywhere I
You can go
want.
whichever
as long
way
as
you
it's mutually agreed upon. However, it was mutually agreed upon contract acceptance for the listing agreement. Right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 12, 15%, whatever it is, it is. When is the buyer's broker's compensation solidified?
After the SCA is signed.
Wrong.
No.
when the buyer broker
Exclusive agreement. Yeah, when
When the buyer and the broker consummate their employment relationship. Is that negotiable?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Mutually negotiable. Right? But I see what you're going with there. Now, if the seller is going to be paying the buyer compensation, we learn that through a seller's compensation addendum, or however California calls it, compensating the buyer's broker, whatever it is. It's usually a form presented during the offer packet. Do we agree?
Yeah.
Right.
10 for it.
What should accompany these documents so that we're black and white explaining everything to the consumer, where there is no gray zone, and we can say that we disclosed everything?
The ready form and signatures.
Okay, partly that, ready for them. What else?
Is threats of violence a bad answer?
No.
You mean from the seller side, or
As long as it's mutual, it's mutual combat, it's not a problem. Right? What about a net sheet?
Yeah.
oh yeah,
What about something that says, based on our agreement, here's your estimated take home based on the information you've told me. Now, what happens if things change during the transaction? We find out that they have some tax liens, or maybe a settlement issue, or the appraisal comes in less. All of these factors change what the seller gets at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Every time we have a change in our agreement structure, right? We wanted to sell it for 400. These are all the things that you told me you had. This is what you're walking away with. Now we know, okay, we took an offer at 380 plus your concessions, plus your credits, plus your buyer broker, plus we found out you have to pay your third baby mama some back child support. This is what your net is going to be. We get to the closing table. What's the one document that title should spend the most time on?
Settlement statement.
Why is that?
Make sure it's accurate.
Yeah,
It's imbalances.
it's all the expenses of the entire transaction. You know how many agents get nervous about title going over the compensation line? You know why that is?
Because they don't want to
Because they
talk
weren't
about
clear
the
at the very
numbers.
beginning.
Because they didn't explain it up front. They didn't level set the expectation and then provide a net sheet. Raise my hand. I didn't raise my hand. Go away. Lower my hand.
It's so funny. I have a client. He's older. He's like 82 years old. And he's of Indian descent. But he goes, I just want to make sure that I'm not having to pay your compensation. I said, luckily you're not. I said, in our original agreement you were, and you agreed to it. Luckily, I strongly negotiated on your behalf to get the seller to pay for, your compensation to me. And he goes, so I don't have to pay anything. No, you don't have to pay anything. But it was just, I was still nervous for that guy when he's signing docs because of I made sure he had a clear understanding and I made sure to show my value, but it was still he was signing everything. I was waiting for the other shoe to fall.
Well, that's like my client. I'm like, it's like they're just trying to set you up for a trap. Like the
Right.
way that they talk and the way that they keep going back to things, they're just testing to see if I'm going to say something different. And if there's anything that they feel does not align, it's like, oh, see, well, that's not what you said. Blah, 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 blah. OMG.
Well, it's so funny. California has a 3.3% withholding if you sell within the first 2 years. If you don't sell at a loss, right? Capital gains withholding. And he goes, you didn't tell me that I was going to have to pay 3.3% if I sell in the next 2 years. And I said, were you planning on selling in the next 2 years? And I said, and with that, California tax withholding, I said, if you do sell within the last 2 years and you sell at a loss, you don't have to pay anything. I'm pretty sure you'll sell at a loss if you sell in 2 years.
Yeah.
Pump your brakes. And if you do want to sell in 2 years, give me a call. I'll help you out.
There's a big underlying point to all of this, guys, is setting expectation, is being able to have the tough conversations. This is what's going to happen. When you sell your house, what the offer happens during the inspections, during the appraisal, during the final walkthrough, when all your shit needs to be out, what the condition of the house needs to be in when you move out, and when the buyers get keys. If we can't explain it, you can't guide to it. One of the best things you can do is sit down and have a checklist of conversations, right? We talked about, pre-marketing. That's getting the home ready, decluttering, staging, cleaning, fixing, repairing, making light bulbs. Then you have the under contract process, or the showing process, right? What needs to happen when you're showing houses? What needs to happen when we get to offers? And then the under contract process, and then the inspection process, and then blah, 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 blah. Then give them something that they can go back to. I had a conversation yesterday. It took 4 hours of my day throughout the entire day because the buyer on another house found out that they're paying 7% total on the sale of their house, 4% the listing broker plus a 3% SCA. And they feel like we did not disclose to them that they were paying all of that. And I'm like, did you sign the listing agreement? Yep. Did you sign the purchase contract? Yep. All right. Disclosure. But had we have been able to communicate to them up front of what's to happen, what's to be expected, you're good. The reason people don't explain, or the reason they don't go over in detail the expectations of expenses, cost, fees, timeline, is because they're afraid of what the buyer or seller are going to say.
Also, when you send...
paid?
Oh, sorry, buddy.
Are you worth what you get paid?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Believe it. All right, Jim, what was your thing?
I was going to say, I get really nervous when I send somebody an agreement via DocuSign and they send it back 10 seconds later.
Yeah, if that.
Because they didn't read it.
They didn't read it.
And that was in my conversation. I was like, so you're telling me you signed the contract without reading it? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, if you want to get an attorney, feel free to do so, but make sure you tell them that sentence.
Well, and then I also just kind of CYA, I email them a unsigned PDF of what they will be signed to.
I do the same thing. I was gonna say, I assume that people are not going to do the right thing or do what I want to do or whatever. That I'm like 3 points of contact essentially. When I send everything, like the beginning, like our listing agreement, buyer broker, I have a separate email that has a brief description of each document. And I'm like, here are the documents, here's a brief description of each. I'll be sending you the official versions in DocuSign for your review and signature. Please let me know if you have questions, blah, blah, blah.
And in their defense, DocuSign, when you click next, it's like a microfiche. It just spins to the next spot.
Yep.
I do
I don't
that
know.
as well. And another thing, which this is actually a huge learning lesson for me too. I recently made all my templates that I send out to sellers, buyers, etc. And so before like any listing, before we go live, before we accept an offer, before we go into escrow, all of this, I have email templates. It's like the exact next things of what to expect. And I did not have the walkthrough in there. So now I'm adding the walkthrough in there because I myself assume that it's common sense that you should have your home cleared and ready to close the day before closing. But that's not common sense to some people, apparently. So now I'm going to include in that email to expect the buyer to walk through the home up to 5 days before closing, because that's an obligation. They're obligated to do that. So now that's going to be an expectation that I'm setting with all my clients, because that definitely would have helped in this situation. Would we have closed, or would we have been good for the walkthrough that day? Probably not. Would we have closed on Monday? Maybe. But they still would have delayed the process for sure. But I think we might have not been closing this late. So I think that was, you learn as you go of like all these little things that you're like, okay, I guess maybe that is an expectation that I should set with my client.
And Gracie, one thing too is, and I can share it with everybody if you guys want, is I have a template that I use, an email that I send out before photos. I have it all the way goes back to the contract, a copy of the executed agreements. I've got a copy that I send before photo appointment, best photo tips, what to expect, blah, blah, blah. Right before we go on market, what to expect, how to handle the showings, how my schedule is going to work. And then, before they move out, these are what the closing costs, move out expectations are contractually, blah, blah, blah. Here's referrals to moving companies and clean out people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Just it's automated process that this date, this period in the contract and the transaction, it fires that out.
Yeah, that's kind of what I made. It's just as a newer agent, I'm like thinking of all these little random things. I'm like, oh shoot, I need to add that now. As far as like the walkthrough, at least. Didn't think of that before.
Yeah, I'm building all of that stuff out right now in like a branded, like uniformed packet. You know what I mean? It's like I've had them just kind of written out in email templates, and now I'm like making it actually nice looking, and so it'll be consistent and the same, and it's a little more comprehensive.
Yeah, I just Google Drive, copy paste.
And yeah, I have a link to a Google Drive folder because I set up a shared Google Drive folder for all my clients that's available for a year after they close. Mm-hmm. And they can go back and access it. And I remind them at several points throughout the transaction, like, here's your link. Don't forget, there's copies of everything in there. And I drop everything in there in addition to sending it, right? It's like, here's your all your inspections. Here's all of our estimates. Here's copies of all of your stuff. And then I remind them this is in there. And like everything goes in there too. The final settlement statement, the closing packet at the end. And I tell them it's available for a year after closing. It's probably going to live there in perpetuity because I'm too lazy to delete it. You know what I mean?
And you shouldn't, because it becomes your document archive for that transaction. I think this is a fantastic thing.
Well, I have my own version.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's not DocuSign, it's not Command, it's nothing. It's Google Docs. It's all your document. Because when, not that you're ever going to leave us, but when you do grow and do your own thing, and all your stuff at Command and KW goes away.
Oh, for sure. Well, those are not ours. Those are the brokerage's copies.
Exactly. Those are the brokerage files. You need your own.
Yeah. So I have my version of I have 2 folders that every transaction has. It's my version, which inevitably will have a little bit more than the client's version, and then the client's version that lives in the separate folder.
The eyebrow real estate group.
Yep, exactly.
Pencil.
ERG. Erg.
All right, guys. Today worth your time?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Have tough conversations, set expectations, follow up with documented proof. When you do that, you'll never have to have a sit down with the principal and talk about your bad behavior and get timeout. Okay?
Mhm.
No time.